What's going on, my YouTube peeps? Fernando with ProWindowz here, aka the Nandalorian, and I want to give you guys another little quick how-to video on flushing your ROs. Why is it important to flush your ROs? So I'm going to give you a little breakdown here on my setup on my truck, how I have my system set up to where I can flush it two different ways. Stay tuned. Okay, so on my truck I got a total of 3 valves. Pay no attention to my setup because my setup is completely configured different, just because I am running 4 ROs on the back, 2 DIs in the bottom and 1 carbon up on top. So the setup for flushing is going to be the same process for you guys, whether you're using a ball valve or most likely you probably have a wastewater valve, which looks something like this. Pretty much what you're going to want to do is every single morning and at the end of the day, it's very important that you guys flush out your systems, because that is going to preserve the life of the ROs. If you guys are not flushing your ROs, think of it of this way. So the RO filters have a sort of like a they have a filter inside that has a lot of little light panels inside that kind of create a star shape all the way around the housing inside. So as the water's coming into your system, your RO filters are pretty much trapping up all the dirt, any debris that can be inside the water, and that dirt will settle in between all the little fins inside of that filter. So if you guys do not flush it periodically, what's going to happen is all that dirt is going to start settling in and compacting inside of that filter to the point where it's going to harden up, and it's going to be really hard for your water to push through. So if you guys don't flush and you guys do it maybe once a week, then most likely you're going to have some clogged filters, which is going to reduce the production flow of your RO filter. So what you're going to want to do is you want to open up your wastewater valves. So for reference, I'm gonna just go with this setup here because I have a whole different setup. And you're going to turn on your production pump, whether you have a single user or a double user. You're going to turn on your production pump. Depending on if I build a system for you, your system's going to come with pump switches. I'm going to have everything labeled out. Everything's ready for you guys to use. If you're doing your own setup, I'm assuming you're using a pump switch. If you're not, you're probably going to be using a breaker switch. And you're going to turn on your switches, and that's going to start pushing out water out of one of my hoses. So that's full flow. If you're the type of person that does not flush your systems periodically, you're going to want to let this run for 10-15 minutes. That's all water that's pushing out on my system, combined through all four ROs coming out. So this is all my waste, 2 waste lines into 1, then 2 waste lines from the bottom into 1. That's why I have 2 separates, and then it turns into 1 here, so you can just push the water out. So I'm doing a complete flush on my system at the moment. Every morning I'll do about a 1 minute flush. We do use our DI system every single day, so no need for me to spend 10-15 minutes here. At the end of your day, like I said, you want to give it another 2-minute flush, and then once you're ready, you're going to go ahead and close up your valves again. In my case, I'm going to start draining water again through this side, because I have mine configured to where I can automatically turn my valve and it'll turn into flush mode. And the same thing, less pressure on this one compared to the other one at full flow. But this is the wastewater discharge line, the original wastewater discharge line. So when I turn my valve over to production, it's going to start producing water and start rerouting it back into my tank. And then the excess water, it's going to start pushing through the pinhole inside of my wastewater valve, pushing it out the other hose, which now you got a little bit of trickled water coming out of that, and we got 0 water coming out of this. So that's the way my setup is. And make sure you guys are flushing. And if you guys don't flush, then yeah, you guys are going to be stuck with replacing your RO filters in a few years. These filters can last anywhere between 3 to 5 years. I'm going on 4 years with my ROs, and we are still at maybe close to 90%. So there you go. You guys need a system? Hit up your boy Nandalorian.